but it's like this. When you break up with somebody, stay gone.
Yep.
We knew what this dude did and what he was up to in his first term, how anybody thought that somehow an old leopard could change its spots. It's not true. Um, and for the people who, the evangelicals and all those folks who, we go in and that Trump was sent by the Lord. Huh.
Yeah, did you see
Hmm.
the the video of the preacher that was preaching? I'm gonna send that to you too, so you can check that out. But this cat was preaching and said, "Yes, we took over Venezuela for the oil, but for the spiritual aspect of things, people with oil shouldn't be in darkness. So Venezuela is in darkness; they shouldn't have the oil." And I'm like, "This is
Hmm.
yeah."
I just had this thought,
Find it for you.
random. Um, let's get the caller, and then I'm gonna put this question out, um, and just hopefully people will chime in. Caller, welcome to the program.
What's going on, brother?
What's happening, brother?
Hey, you know, because I got these meta glasses, right? So I asked how many times has Donald Trump lied. It was 30,573, and it was 21 lies a day.
It was what?
21 lies a day.
Yeah.
But it was 31,500.
That was his first time. Right?
No, this is period.
Okay.
This is through no, yeah, this for this term now.
Yep. Okay.
That's a lot of damn lies.
And then you get to the point where, you cannot believe you. You lose all credibility. Not that you had any with me. He had any credibility with me anyway. But I mean, it would just be, and then I guess again, it's Trump fatigue, where the news media gets tired of fact checking. Because it's just the lies are so overwhelming.
Man, I'm so surprised he didn't get one of those shoes through at him like Bush did. You know how Bush did the Matrix when they shot that shoe at him?
Right.
I'm surprised they ain't shot no shoe at him, man. For real. A boot, a microphone, something.
Yeah.
But as soon as you don't like something that you don't like, oh, let's go to the next question. We don't like you.
America. Now, I don't know, Florida, DeSantis is calling a special session of the Florida legislature to go in and redraw congressional seats in Florida. The Republicans are really concerned. They realize they're going to take a beating in the midterms. I mean, and we're seeing little indicators of it. And you hope they're not outliers, where you're seeing in some of these red districts that are turning blue. Because here's the reality, man. A lot of those Trump supporters, a lot of his policies have really impacted them very negatively.
It's hitting their pockets. Now they mad.
Right. Because
then he says, yeah, well, if we don't win this midterm, I'm gonna get impeached. Well, I'm glad you know that.
Yeah, because if the Dems take the House back, oh, trust me, it's the first thing you do. Now the problem is they don't have the votes in the Senate. And even when they had the majority in the Senate, they didn't have the votes, because I think it has to be 2/3 of the Senate in order for him to be convicted. So you have the impeachment, where it is basically...
He got the House, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but the impeachment is done in the House. The trial is held in the Senate, okay? And so when he both times it went to the Senate, and both times they didn't have enough votes to convict him. Okay, and I certainly know this time around they don't, because even when they did convict him, I think the Dems were in majority. Now they're in the minority. So it's not, and people just not going to push back. But when I think about the Affordable Care Act subsidies, they showed that the people most affected by it were people who were more likely to vote for Trump. If you look at the tariffs,
and poor white people.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So the tariffs where, so there were farmers and ranchers who supported him, and now they're dealing with the residual effects of the tariffs.
Oh yeah, there's a guy at my job. He was a Trump supporter. He backed up off of him because this guy, he likes foreign motorcycles, and he tried to get his little foreign parts. They said they could deliver the parts, but he has to sign $300 just to get the parts. I mean, he can pay for the shipping, but he has to pay $300 when they come to the door with the part because of the tariff.
And then when they changed that, where you didn't have to pay a duty on anything under $800, and they removed that, because what he's doing is using the tariffs, which is a tax, right, to pay for some of the things, and part of it is that big beautiful bill. And then because everything that's going on, we may or may not be paying attention. Do you know he wants to double the defense budget? He wants it at $1.5 trillion. Where are we going to get the money to pay for that? You did the tax cuts.
Because that's all that nonsense. He want to send all these troops to different states and different countries. That's why.
Well, then someone pointed out that under the big beautiful bill, because it was such an awful bill, one of the things they did was they've expanded that Homeland Security, particularly ICE, Border Patrol. They've increased, they're going to be like the largest budget in the government. And again, history. It reminds me of using that group, like Hitler used the brown shirts, like Mussolini used the black shirts. These were people where it's almost this little paramilitary, because certain things he can't do stateside. Posse Comitatus bars American troops from policing in America, right? Now, you can go in certain situations where there's an emergency and you can federalize or you can send in troops, but they can't do normal police work. That's Posse Comitatus. So who do you need to enforce that? You increase ICE, and then you send them into cities, right? And then it's provocation. I'm not saying this dude killed this woman, so then there would be a riot. But trust me, if there was, people go, see, these folks are all violent.
Yeah, they can't control themselves.
Right, and it gets us past the real issue here. And then there was a guy on CNN who actually read their rules of engagement, and saying that in a situation with a car, you need to step away, don't step. And
let them go.
This dude, and there's a shot, they got a shot, and it's going viral, of him before the car was still in reverse, and he pulled out his weapon.
He was already ready.
Right. And then they said, Trump says he's lucky to be alive. He's in the hospital.
Right.
You
walked up to the car, fam.
Right. And wait a minute. Then they show him just, holstering his weapon and walking like away. Nothing happened. And the only person that fell was this dude that slipped, because the dude bumped into him and he slipped on some ice. I mean, he
wants to seem like our eyes not watching what we watching. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Gaslighting, man. It is right. Just like that ain't what you see.
But okay, my last question is, them Venezuelan people gonna fight back for that oil, right? He think he's just gonna go there and just take it real easy.
Yeah, I think that he needs to. They have all kind of things that they need to be mindful of. First of all, over and beyond the Venezuelan army, you have all these militias there, right? And then the other piece of it is, one of the things that killed the Venezuelan economy was that, one, they because of sanctions, they couldn't invest in the infrastructure of oil production. So they only represent about 1% of oil production, even though they sit on the largest oil reserve in the world. Part of that was they can't get it out the ground. So
because they don't have the tools.
Right.
Hey, we don't have the tools, but I think they were somebody was building the tools before they even decided to try to take over Venezuela. They would decide to make those tools already prior.
Well, there is one company that's there right now. I want to say it's Chevron, because when they showed up where they were selling their oil, about 24% of it sold to Americans. And you kind of go like the type of crude that it is. Basically, American refineries are really prepared to deal with that. So they're chopping their, what is it? Licking their lips, chop. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, so it's all about money, but then it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse for the Venezuelan people.
Yeah, because they ain't gonna have nothing.
They're not going to have anything. They're already looking at what 200, 300% inflation. You're not going in to do anything. And I guess the point I was going to make is that you go in and you don't think out what the consequences are because he doesn't have serious thinkers around him saying that these are the consequences. You know, like it or not, when Bush lied about the reason for going into Iraq, at least you had people around him who you could say, yeah, well, they know what they're doing, even though they're up to no good, right? You have
the same situation.
Right. You don't have a sense. And then when Stephen Miller comes out, and man, you talk about, there's a book by a guy named Randall Kennedy. He is a professor at Harvard University. The name of the book is Sellout. And what he does is he tries to look at, well, you know, Judas, there's some things that went into Judas's decision. And he was talking about how different people can do things that would be detrimental to the group that they come from, right? He said we should understand it. I really don't. There are people out there who will sell their people down the river in the New York Minute. Stephen Miller is a Jew. He doesn't understand what it is to be marginalized. His folks in Europe during the Holocaust.
He should go back to his roots when he was born. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and before I let you go, brother. But good luck on y'all game.
He slid that in
again. I say good luck, bro.
Hey, let me say this to you, man. We did de-escalation.
Clark, chill out in the background. Chill out.
We did de-escalation training at the sheriff's department. And one thing that the instructor said, she said, you know, sincerity is not required. You're not sincere, but thank you. You can't even look at you. You can't even.
Hey, who you with?
Who you with? Depends on what happens Saturday. All right, man. Appreciate you. You always said, man, don't confuse my Bucks bandwagoning with the Packers. It hadn't gotten to that point yet. Because, man, I don't even watch the Bucks right now. I'm just, man.
I don't think nobody did.
It's too awful.
They was balling, though.
You're listening to Community Voice. Phone lines open. Caller, I see you. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
with your host, Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Keith. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the young lady that they shot yesterday, the ICE man.
Mm-hmm.
So was she a person that they was trying to deport? Why they stopped? Were they trying to deport her?
No, she's a white woman.
Oh,
She was actually out trying to warn people that ICE was in the neighborhood.
Right, and some of the initial reports said that she was a white woman. So
wow.
Yeah, that no, they weren't trying to deport her. They followed.
And you mean to tell me the orange guy that's in the White House is actually saying that she tried to hit the policeman with her truck, and he's accepting the fact that she got killed and she's white?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
And then the other police lady that got on TV saying she was a terrorist and really tried to hit that cop, that's bull. And that guy, that Madison mayor, Minnesota, I am so proud of him. He told them to get the hell up out of Minnesota, which they should. Trump needs to get the hell up out the White House. When they going to put him in jail? Because he killing folks unnecessarily.
We will
and he
see.
killed one of his own color people, one of his people that may have not voted for him, but still in all. And then that lady that remember when he pardoned all them people that went up to Madison, and that one lady didn't accept her pardon. She went on to accept the fact that she did do the crime up at Madison.
Right.
You know, she
know,
woke up and seen that he is unbelievable. The stuff that he's doing is really ridiculous.
You know, and it feels like death by 1,000 cuts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like every day. There's something different, and I don't know.
Now he's messing with Venezuela. Man, come on, dude.
And did you know
got
he
nothing better to do with your life?
He invited the Colombian president to the White House.
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, the Colombians had put 30,000 troops on the Venezuelan border, right? I mean, and then here's the issue: the cocaine that he's talking about. One goes to Europe, but it comes from Colombia. Everybody knows Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia. That's where the cocaine is coming from. But and I said it the other day: Americans don't have the same appetite for cocaine we had it 10 years ago.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
So the drug of preference here is fentanyl, and that comes from China and then comes through Mexico. Because I said most of the drugs that come into America comes by land, not by sea. You're
right, and he killing them, bombing them boats, and ain't seen no dope.
Yeah, that's right. Ain't seen no dope.
Right, just killing them people for no apparent reason, trying to make yourself look good.
The reason is it becomes a distraction. But my mother always said that some people can't do wrong right.
Okay.
Can't do wrong right.
Can't do wrong right. Appreciate you, Angela. Let me get this next caller.
All right.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a problem, and everyone else should have it. What everyone don't know about why is Donald Trump that stays from offshore of land of actual United States land. Okay, he's only a fourth generation. Okay, that lied to get what he wants. And the thing is, the reason why he had ran to be the president, he had got incentive tax relief from New York. He had $40 million tax credit waiver that it would take him 40 years to pay off. When it came to time to pay up, he threw his hat in to try to stop from going to jail and being tax invaded. And what it is, we got two sets of whites, okay? And we got two sets of blacks. We have racist whites that's into politics chairs, okay, that got voted in with the framing of line to the constituents and the actual voters. Donald Trump is a racist, okay? And the only thing that he's trying to do is become a king, because no one really knew that he's a bloodline from the United Kingdom. So he's trying to copy his uncles and relatives and try to mark himself to take over the United States. See, Greenland, they don't get anything from anyone. Actually, a king owns that, okay? See, you see where it's going? He wants to be a king, so he's going to mess with things, our allies around surrounding the United States, to break us from the actual UN, the United Nations.
Well, there were some other things going on there, like someone had pointed out that America's always had a presence on Greenland. They said at one point they had 17 military installations on Greenland. I was sharing with my godson yesterday that I worked with a guy. He was a sheriff deputy here, and he said, I'm from Iceland. He said Iceland is actually green. Greenland is actually ice. It was really kind of fascinating. But you're right. It is Danish territory. The Danes allow them a certain level of autonomy, but it's right there. And then when Stephen Miller comes out talking about
Stephen Miller's an alien.
Yeah,
I need y'all to know that. The aliens are here.
It does look like Marvin the Martian, don't he?
Yeah.
Listen here. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all haven't heard anything about the aliens since Trump had made that false drop of drones that they had dropped out and say, this is what y'all was looking at. Why do y'all think that Trump is getting rid of a whole lot of people here that are Americans, and also everybody's a foreigner here, okay?
Except the indigenous people.
Well, right. Now, and that goes around swings back to us too, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, what I want to tell you is that he's trying to replace some people that's going to vote for him, and basically he's trying to get the people that put us in slavery in the first place. And basically, aliens have put us through slavery. If you don't understand, this is a takeover to make place for aliens. Hitler did the same thing to Jews when the great aliens came to Earth, okay? Right. And in order for them to have a place here, they had to have a place to colonize and control, okay?
All right. Well, man, let me do this because I have a guest coming, and I want to get all the callers in I can. So appreciate you. Thank you for that insight. Appreciate you. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Parris. Assalamu alaikum to you, brothers. Rapid speed. Everyone is talking about what we are witnessing with regard to the interactions with Caucasian people. And what I have to say is what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he gave an address about it. And I think this was after the first presidential experience. And he said that what we are witnessing, or what we will see for the most part, is that the mask, M-A-S-K, the mask of civility, C-I-V-I-L-I-T-Y, civility, the mask of civility will be taken off by the oppressor, and that the layers of the onion, because the more you peel the onion back, the layers, the more pungent or stronger the smell becomes. And he also mentioned about the scorpions stinging and that it will intensify. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad also firstly spoke of these things or occurrences that we, the children of formerly enslaved people, Ms. Parris, are what we're going through. So that is to force us to do something for ourselves collectively because, and I'll go with this, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said the Caucasian will first enslave us, second, spoil us, and then thirdly, throw us away. And hey, Mr. FBI man, you still ain't got nothing on the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Thank you, sir.
All right, appreciate you. You know, as I was driving in thinking, ouch, man, I'm gonna be sore in the morning. You know, with and it's just a question, and so when you know, we have a change of ownership here, but we have not had we don't have a change of focus.
Right.
You know, everything we had in place stays in place in terms of what we do in terms of our programming. But I'm wondering, as listeners, and many of you probably, we're not the only talk shows that you listen to. I know some people, you know, they're everywhere. What do you see? What do you see the role of a talk show host? What do you see that person's role? When you think about when you see that, what is the role of a talk show host? Call it.
So is it role in the community or just role?
Well, just role doing what you do.
Get information.
Get information. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes. Hello?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Teresa. Hey, listen, when you look at the environment, you have to realize Chinese been up there fooling around in their national park. What's happening is here, the enemy, even if you look at Venezuela, the thing is, man, if they're surrounding America, and if you only looking at what the media and your, like Michelle was talking about emotions, looking at this with emotions, then you're going to get invaded. We've already been invaded. And I tell you, the Somalians in Minnesota kind of they kind of launched their invasion too soon. The Mexicans have invaded this country and they silent. The Arabs have invaded this country and they silent. And we're looking at the one in New York right now. These are invasions. The whole Somali community is mad.
Meech. Last time I checked, you a descendant of an African American enslaved individual. What are you talking about? Invasion? You try to sound like you on the team, man. You ain't on their team.
Can I say this to you, brother?
No, but I think because I hear this and you go after Arabs, you go after Mexicans, but dude, you ain't on the team.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who team you on?
Hey, man, team me. But I know I ain't on that team.
Don't be sarcastic, man.
No,
you American.
But
hold on, brother. Brother.
Of course I'm an American. But what I'm saying is you act as if you on the team and somehow you're going to be immune to anything that the majority does.
I'm not.
Guess what? If we go into the camps, you going too.
Brother, I'm not, and I'm not a fool to know to think that I am. However, to preserve what little bit that we do have and that we can claim as ownership, we need to preserve that, brother. Let me explain something to you, man. If they invade this country right now, you're not going to be able to. Who is they? Be able to use the excuse. Hold on, brother.
Who's they? You need to tell me who they is. Who is they?
The people that are here right now. You're Hispanics. Hispanics right now have really invaded this country.
No, they haven't, because the land. It's interesting that Trump calls it the Monroe Doctrine, based on the Monroe Doctrine, where the Monroe Doctrine was a fostered manifest destiny. That means that, part of what we call the Southwest was part of Mexico, and that land was stolen. California was part of Mexico, and that land was stolen. So this is as much their land.
Brother, I'm asking you a question. Was it stolen or was it conquered?
Oh, okay. So now semantics?
No. I want you to quit playing games with the people, man.
Okay.
You're playing games with the people, man.
Okay. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Because when you conquer the land, that means you steal the land.
Well,
I appreciate you, man. Let me get the next caller. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey,
Trying to do what? I know my words.
Good morning, Keith.
Good morning,
brother
man.
Jermaine. Hey, man.
Spent a whole lot of money for these words.
Hey, man. Listen, I can't. Meach has been banned from calling other radio stations just because of that ridiculous nonsense that comes out of his mouth all the time.
You think he should be banned?
That's that person who runs the show.
No, I'm asking you.
That's
you're a listener. You think he should?
I mean, I listen to him, and it's just frustrating. You try to figure out what's going on in this guy's brain. It's just some of the things that he says is ridiculous. It's false. He says a lot of things that aren't true. He spews a lot of racism. I don't know what happened to him, or he does have a right to his opinion. But the things that he says about,
should his opinion be heard?
It all depends. I mean, I could easily turn the radio off because sometimes when he calls, I just don't want to hear that nonsense. That's my opinion. Okay. But see, you stopped him, and you had to check him because Michelle checks him all the time. He doesn't, other shows that he calls in on a different station, they allow him and just let him say whatever he says without checking it, because you said the responsibility of a talk show host. I think they should be educated, smart, and know a lot about a lot of different issues, and not just let people call in and say things that aren't true. I think they have a responsibility as far as that's concerned. I think you do a really good job of informing our community. And I really hate what happened in Minnesota. It still disturbs me that the president of the United States, and it's our fault that we put him in there, Kristi Noem, they've already come to a conclusion as to what the situation was without a thorough investigation. That FBI, they're going to rule that it was that situation was justified because they work for Donald Trump. You can't you can't work with Donald Trump. You have to work for Donald Trump. And
I agree with that. And let me say this.
Yes,
remember,
sir.
history is important to remember history and remember. And I love words, so I'm always listening for words.
Yes.
When white cops tried to justify their killing of black men, what was the line that they were taught to use? My life was in danger.
Right.
Think about that. So what you're already hearing from Kristi Noem and others was that there was an imminent danger. His life was in danger. So for white folks who dismiss that, talking about, I can understand it as a cop. Now chickens are coming home to roost. Right?
Yes.
And this is going to be his defense. He had a reasonable fear of danger. And then how do you and then depending on the jury, here's the other thing, and I think you pointed this out. Who does the investigation? The Trump Justice Department?
Right.
I mean, so we're not going to find any justice there. Exactly. I'm not even going to deceive myself to believe that somebody's going to come in and go, this was wrong. So I'm sorry.
No, Keith. I just want to ask. There's a lot that's not known about that situation, but there were other vehicles that were able to get around. Why was she in that position? Because she wasn't blocking the road because other vehicles had passed before they walked up to the car. They told her to move.
Thank you for that, because Kristi Noem comes out and says because of the bad weather that one of their vehicles got stuck. It looked like the sun was out. What was the bad weather? I mean, that's the wow, man. We looking at this. You can't. This is crazy. Now, I have to be patient when it comes to justice, Because
Exactly.
justice is not, it's immediate for us, but justice is not one of those things that we're probably going to see anytime soon. And that's another frustration.
And Keith, if you look at that video, if you go back and look at it, the vehicle that the lady was in that was shot, there was a vehicle on the right side. It was a light colored vehicle with the door open.
Right.
Yeah.
Who was in that vehicle?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, was the person that was that someone talking to her on the side, on the passenger side, that was in that vehicle? Or was that a law enforcement in that vehicle?
Right.
That was part. I mean, it has to be an investigation before you make stupid comments like Christy Gnomes and Mr. Dum Dum, who's the so-called leader of our country, who's really taking us down a path that I don't think that it's going to be hard for us to recover from. So I'm gonna hang up and listen.
Appreciate you, man.
Okay, thank you very much.
I work for government, and it's almost a reflex action to circle the wagons, right? Deny. It's just reflexive. Deny. Even though there was folks who used to come in. They were called quality control, quality assurance people. And what the quality assurance people would do was they go in and they would do random sampling, and they would pull different case files to see how accurate it was. You get a sample of the rate. I got frustrated sometimes with our leadership, as opposed to addressing what's causing the error, they immediately went into defensive mode. Okay. Now, when you really own some BS, the first thing you're going to do is deny, deflect, right? And then lie, right? Now, let me say this. A lot of times it's not the original sin, it's the cover-up that does the damage. All right, you're listening to Community Voice. Callers, I see you.
Hey, you know what, Keith?
Yes, sir.
You can tell when he lied. The president, he go, he do that all the time.
He do that all the time.
Right.
And then you kind of going like, this dude ain't gonna tell the truth. I mean, you know what? I just stopped placing my hope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, but it seemed like that. Even though this year went by quick, it seemed like, man,
forever.
It seemed.
I
swear, man, it seemed like forever, man.
And then but look, this is the other thing, and I have to accept this. If you're gonna have good,
you gotta have bad.
You're gonna have bad.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when I look back at 2025, in a lot of ways, personally, it was a great year.
Yeah.
But then I still got all this other stuff.
Deal with the other elements of
Right. All right, you listen to Community Voice. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I hate to I go so hard at Meech, but stop acting like you on the team, bro. Caller, welcome to the program.
False flag.
Remix.
Man, turn your radio down. All right, bye. Go ahead, man. I couldn't take it.
We're joined in studio by Pastor Teresa Thomas Boyd. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do it for about another 2 weeks, even though I you know what? I don't think I've signed anything with 2-6 on it yet.
I have.
Have you? Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you, man, last year, boy, you know, I grew up 1968, I thought 67, 68 was probably two of the worst years ever. Just what was going on in the world, right? And then what was going on at our home, right? So it was just like, it just seemed so dark. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about, 2-5. It is a lot. So welcome.
It's good to be here.
Good to have you here. Let me, I have, and then we'll talk about why you're here. That's okay. I always love to get background on people. How you got to what you do, when you do what you do.
Okay.
And one of the, I am I'm more than a supporter. I'm really an ally in women in ministry. I just think that I don't understand how you can be 53% of the population and less than 5% of religious leadership. So talk about a little bit how you got to where you got to in terms of your ecclesiastical journey.
I'll start by saying being untraditional and being raised by a father who had 3 daughters first and said you can do what anybody else can do.
Oh, so he radical.
And you probably can do it better. That was my dad.
Was that a specific message to his girls?
Yes.
Wow.
And I won't just say suggested, he made us participate in everything that he did.
Okay.
As a father. We said he wanted boys, but he got girls. His first 4 were girls. So that was the beginning of the journey. And that was how we were raised. Outside of his and my mom's, and I will just say traditional, but very serious about education, about who you are and what you do to contribute to the community. They allowed us they were not what I would call regular church members. They were people that were from the South that was accustomed to going to church every now and then, but they supported church. And so what they ended up doing with the girls was we lived by a Lutheran church 2 blocks from our house. They then said, listen, it's in walking distance. We can trust you girls to walk there. So my actual beginning came from the Lutheran church, which again is different. And from that experience, I was a part of what they call the Missouri Synod of the Lutheran Church, which was very conservative and split. And when they split, we were a part of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America,
which is more progressive.
And they then began ordaining women in ministry. So that's childhood, I want to say beginnings. And then in that, it was a community church, Cross Lutheran, that did work outside the walls, took us to Chicago. We were a part of Operation Push. So the whole tradition of who you are and what you're called to be was planted very early. That being planted allowed me not to get caught up with what was somebody else saying about what you should do with your life. Who are you? Da 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 da. It gave me enough, especially for my father, to say, you are who you are and purpose to be who you are. So that was the beginning of it. And I stayed in the Lutheran church until I married into the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, which began ordaining women in 1955. So coming out of that tradition, being able to be a part of that, and I say this not downing Black churches, but just saying that because of the way that I came through the church, I was not caught up in it's not a woman's place. I was caught up in how do you serve, where do you serve, and what are you called to do? And that made a difference even when I walked into the Black church.
And obviously there are challenges in white churches, but there are also
Yes.
challenges in Black churches. I know we're going to talk about your scholarship event, Circle Around Dr. King.
Yes.
Dr. King was, as all of us, we all have contradictions, right?
Yes.
I mean, we can, but I would think maybe later in life, Dr. King would have been supportive of women in ministry. But I don't know during that time. You know, I think that some of us, all of us, are either victims or beneficiaries of our environment. And so when we don't see that. And I guess, why do you think, is it just been because of thousands of years of patriarchy that it's so difficult for women to even, to talk about glass ceiling? Yeah, to be able to break through that glass ceiling?
I would say yes, but I also would say it's not just church, it's just life. Because if you look at all kinds of careers, it has been that way. And even in the historical writings, you will see that based on men being in charge, men being in control.
Because men wrote it, right?
And men saying what they believe, from my perspective, what they believe that is the order of how things should go. Now, even according to many of the Bible stories and acknowledgement, you will find that women were leaders throughout, but they were not emphasized. They were not put in that.
And one of the great, examples of this was the March on Washington.
Yes.
Where people like Ella Baker and others who were very instrumental in that movie, even Dorothy Height didn't speak.
Yes.
That, you had, and then the woman they did have speak was Josephine Baker. No disrespect. I know Josephine Baker did some great things.
Yes.
And then Mahalia Jackson sang, but it's so representative. And I guess it's a frustration of mine because, and again, this is anecdotal, but I think it can be empirically verified that when women go into ministry, usually they're more formally trained and formally trained than men. And maybe because, like Ginger Rogers, you have to do the same steps, only you're doing backwards in heels. Do you think that that's?
Yes, it's a part of it, but it's also a big part of, again, I think, just the history period of mankind and what we have done in terms of understanding what it means for church to be in the same army. We're fighting the same fight, but you're not allowing people that are in that fight to be put in their position and role to do the work that they're called to do. Because it's not about male and female when it comes to gender in the Bible. It's about the spirit of a person.
Mm-hmm.
So the spirit of a person is what rises. It's not what's on the outside of you, it's on what's the inside of you. And that makes the difference. I've got people all over the country. I lived in Miami for 9.5 years. And while in ministry in Miami, it was one of the most difficult challenges I had. I was in a real wilderness for 9.5 years. But what it taught me was that my faith, what was on the inside of me, was what was going to get me through. It wasn't the people. It wasn't the things that they said or did not say. They even told me to go back to Milwaukee because they didn't like a woman a minister being there in Miami, Florida. But it was what was on the inside that made the difference. So I think it's a combination of things, and I think we as people, and this is male and female, have to make more decisions about how do we represent and how do we encourage who people are, not what the world says or but who people are, and how do we support that, encourage that. So me, my sister, my eldest sister, Marilyn Miller, she's Reverend Marilyn Miller. She's now retired from the Lutheran Church. She stayed in the Lutheran Church. I was a part of the Methodist Church and then went independent in terms of ministry. And then my sister right under me is also in ministry. So these are calls that are very.
You were talking about the CME Church.
Yes.
And ordaining women.
Yes.
AME Church also.
AME Church was first.
And I can't think of this, and I'll have to do my little history. The young lady, when they formed the AME Church, she ended up preaching, though Richard Allen would not credential her. So this goes back to the early 18, especially Black women. Yesterday I was saying that we use these terms a lot of times, and you said something I thought was just really profound. When you talk about it's the spirit, so that's not male or female, it's not gender specific.
Yes.
It's the spirit. And I heard people, they use this term prophetess.
Mm-hmm.
And I push back on it. No, a prophet is a prophet, period. Now, because I think when you say prophetess, you always say it's a woman, therefore it does not have the same gravity that it has when you're saying prophet, because that's male. So how important is the language that we use around women? You know, and I'm not going to call it out specifically by name, where they're evangelists.
Yes. Well, I would say.
Thank you, Holy Redeemer.
Right on point is when you think of, and again, this is fivefold ministry. When you think of an apostle, you don't say apostle.
Yes.
When you think of a prophet, you don't think of a prophetess. When you think of an evangelist. So those titles themselves give you a role that you are in, not based on gender, but based on the work of what it is that call is about. A pastor, you're not a pastoress, you're a pastor. You're not, so those teachers do not just become, she's a woman teacher, this is a male teacher. No, you're a teacher.
And that's what I say. I shout out Holy Redeemer Institutional Church of God in Christ. Is I thought and was fully supportive. I thought, first of all, it took a certain amount of strength and boldness to allow Dr. Daniels Carter to assume the pastorate. I understand even in that congregation, in that denomination, there's some things there, and I know when she was elevated, you know, you'd go in and you'd hear people talk about it, but we're in the 21st century. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because remember, our traditions and our teachings go with us. When we think of, when I even think about white supremacy and racism, it goes with us. It travels just like everything else. So time, we may say, should have changed some things. But if the people never really taught anything different or did anything different, those young people don't know anything different.
Right. And I think yesterday we had a meeting, so they started talking about reels. So I kind of went through looking at the reels, and being an ordained Baptist minister, I know we have a certain preaching style and preaching tradition.
Yes.
But one of the real divides that we have right now is what we're preaching about.
Yes.
And I think I'm reading Raphael Warnock's book on the divide in the church.
Yes.
And it really does come down to those people who I'd like to think that people go to divinity school, go to seminary, or maybe go to some other types of learning situations. They're going to be a little bit broader in their perspective, especially around women preaching.
Mm-hmm.
Because in seminary, divinity school, depending where you go, there are going to be more women in there. But I just, I wanted to talk about that in terms of what I think one of the greatest preachers ever to walk this planet is Brenda Jackson Kearney. Brenda Kearney.
That's my sister.
Oh my God. Oh
so
my
Johnny
God.
Jackson, her dad,
Mm-hmm.
that's who I came under.
Right. Oh, okay. So you were over at St. John's.
I came under the CME church that was the black sheep of the Methodist church.
Well, they started off as the colored Methodists, and then they changed the name to Christian.
So they were colored Methodists and became the Christian Methodists. And I say this only because St. John was under Pastor Johnny Jackson, who, again, he didn't see who gonna do this, who called to do it. He had 21 ministers that he groomed and prepared for ministry, and half of them were women. So Brenda Kearney and I, Pat Parker, Jackie Zollicoffer, it was a whole stream of women that came out of ministry.
Think about that. We're doing this, what, in the 70s?
Yes, during that time. And so it wasn't about gender. It was about who's called to do what. And because he was a radio announcer and he was the man that put the church in many ways to shame, because he even talked about denomination. He said, I'm Methodist, I'm Baptist, I'm Catholic, I'm Lutheran. He said, I'm all of them. Why? Because the spirit in me still has the same message. And so that for me was my spiritual father. And that was the one that also helped me. He and Pastor Ann Gordon were the ones that gave me my, I would say, in terms of actual walk, not what you hear and not what you say, but your actual walk in ministry. I've been able to do the work. Just do the work. I don't want to hear the other stuff. Just do the work.
I didn't come to preach.
Okay.
I took my text. This is how I get around this at funerals.
Oh,
I say, I know that there's a eulogist.
Yes.
And I'm not allowed to take a text. But if I could, this would be is there something like Jeremiah when it comes? I just want to talk about preaching now. When it comes to that there's this thing on the inside of you, is there, and maybe help me, or I'm sorry for my imprecise language. There's a preacher's spirit. I know we call it charisma, the gift.
Yes.
But there has to be something more, because life can get to the point, and you like Jeremiah, and you going like, I'm too much. I'm overwhelmed. But then Jeremiah says, no, but every time I want to walk away, there's something on the inside of me. It's like fire. So do you think that there is such a thing as a preaching spirit?
I will say yes, and I will say spirit and call, because those two things for me help to blend and to work through, as you have stated, all of the obstacles and the spirits that can get in your way. So with that call on your life and that work of the Holy Spirit in your preaching, to be called to go out to do the work, whether or not I'm inside of a building or not. And that's another reason why I consider myself more of a community pastor. I don't have a big church. I don't run around. I had a building, got rid of it, because for me, it's what you out here doing. That's what it's about. When I look at the work that was done, even in ministry throughout the Bible, they didn't talk about being in the synagogue all the time and what was going on. They talked about they were outside in boats and stuff and everywhere else, preaching, teaching. So that within itself, to me, says a lot about what the call is that's on your life. And then how do you go about getting that done?
I was talking to Pastor Richard Shaw. He's part of our Faith, Justice, Politics series. And he said, we're doing pretty good with the mercy ministry. said that we're struggling, though, you're talking about the black church, we're struggling with justice and justice ministry. I know you devoted your life to justice. Why is that so important? Why shouldn't we just be concerned about, our little salvation and going on home to glory, and I get a chance to see Big Mama?
My biggest answer to that is that until we get to heaven, and
you might want to do a caveat, if we get to heaven.
If we get to heaven, all the rest of the time we live here. We live here. I'm not in heaven. You're not in heaven. So I live here. What am I doing here? Even if I think I'm going to be there, how do I get there? Faith without works is dead. So if you ain't doing nothing here, how you going to get there? If your faith walk or your faith journey doesn't put you in a space and a place where you are doing, and I think our best example coming from the Christian church is that Jesus did. He was radical. I loved everything that he did and would say to the Sadducees and everybody else about what he was doing and why he was doing it, because they wanted to hold him to be under their rule. And so constantly, he was the best example that I can even give to say, no, when you have that call, when you have that position, it doesn't matter what the world is doing and saying. There was all kinds of things when the women touched the hem of his garment. Everything that was done in many instances to me was a wake-up call to the church and to the people that were very traditional, even in the Bible day, to say, oh, this is the way it is.
I get in trouble from this from time to time because I ask, what did Jesus say about this?
Mm-hmm.
That's my starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And look, there's no question when you look at the formation of the Christian religion, no individual in terms of the theology has had more impact than Paul.
Yes.
But should we start with what Jesus said? That's why I tell people go to Matthew 25. If you want to talk about eternal life and how you get eternal life.
Yes.
How do we?
And you know what? For me, the other thing that goes with that, because I say that WWJD was big, but for me, when that word came to me and resonated, it was more about, first of all, Jesus had to think something, and we have to think things before we even say and do things. So what would Jesus think about what you're doing right now? What would Jesus, he said, let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. So your mind is the place where we begin in order for us to do what we do.
Karl Marx said that religion is the opiate of the people. And I think he said that, and I think I clearly understand what he's saying, that for a lot of times religion gives us comfort in very difficult situations. Us being descendants of enslaved African, we are an emotive people, right? I mean, we and I'm not saying we're any more emotional, but we our worship experience is emotive, and it seems to me that instead of us appealing to reason and thought, we appeal more to emotion, because that in some instances it got us through.
Yes.
I remember Reverend Winslow used to say, because he wasn't a emotive shouting kind of preacher, but he would say to me, well, it's a cathartic moment. That woman trying to figure out how to raise 3 kids by herself, right? Try to make $1 out of 15 cents. Sometimes it just, what was it we said? Sometimes you just want to holler.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm in the car and I just want to go, because it's so overwhelming. But how do we get to the point where it has its lane? It's important that we express that and be able to release. But then how much of it then is how do we become just as people as Jesus required us to do? So I want you to think about that because we need to go to a break.
Okay.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're joined in the studio by Pastor Teresa Boyd Thomas Boyd. TB. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Keith Parris.
Yes, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Oh, they don't write them like that anymore. Oh
No,
man,
not at
they
all,
don't
no.
write them like that
No.
anymore, man.
The remix always trying to get a part of what we had.
Right.
I'm like, y'all ain't got it.
Sometimes you just need to leave it alone.
Yes.
You need to leave it alone. I always
Yeah.
talk. I do a whole thing on sequels and why you don't do sequels and some of the remixes. I just saw, Richard Smallwood. You know what, Richard Smallwood, talk about footprint.
Yeah, Doc.
People are still talking about it.
Yes.
But there was a guy, must have been a musician, choir director. He said, you know what? If it wasn't written that way,
Right.
why you adding riffs
Yeah.
and everything?
Because they make it personal.
Because we black.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because take
That's what we
Amazing
do.
Grace, man.
Oh man,
It
give me that first
It
note.
take 40. Woo! They always throw that woo in there.
Until you can get to the
Yeah, say Jesus. Man, let that thing go, man. Let it
That's
go.
how amazing it was.
Yeah, let that thing
But if you ever hear how it was written,
yeah, it ain't.
you don't even recognize it.
Yeah.
There was a guy, is he Mike Jr., Pastor Mike Jr.?
Oh, yeah, Pastor Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
He did something, and he said it's not what you do,
It's how you do
but why you do what you do.
it. Mm-hmm.
So there was this guy who was a singer there, and so he said, I want you to sing Amazing Grace in the traditional way. Just sing it. So the guy did it, the measure stand, he did it. He said, now I want you to do it at your big mama's funeral. That song sounded totally different. It was like, because that is the pathos that we put into it. And look, I wish it was just like black people who do that. But go down and listen to some of these Southern folks.
Yeah.
They doing it is,
Yeah.
and I go back and forth with people. How much of this is African? How much of this is Anglo-Saxon? I think it's an amalgamation. When you look at us,
Yes.
even that's why they were saying that internationally, when you say black, they think America.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They're not thinking Nigeria, they're not thinking Jamaica. Yeah. They think America, black. And then whatever that is. And so we've created a people here and the environment, all these things that makes us unique. And then in some ways, really, we're the envy.
Yeah.
Because people feel like, oh, what you have in America. Now, what I would say to my indigenous African brothers and sisters, you will learn very quickly. One of the issues I worked around was infant mortality. Mm-hmm. And, what our infant mortality rates look like. And black female mortality. Yeah. I guess the sister who, she was a midwife and she dealt with mortality issues.
Yeah. She passed, what, young girl?
Yeah, because she trying to have a baby.
She was birthing, yeah.
Right. And so when they did a study, said white women and women who come from Nigeria, first generation, they have the same birth outcomes as white women. Mm-hmm. One generation later, they're beginning to have the same birth outcomes as black women.
Yeah.
It's and you talked about it. It's our environment, is all those things.
It's all of those things.
Tell us about the MLK scholarship.
So I am excited to share that 50 years ago in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, two black and one white pastor in the inner city of Milwaukee decided that they wanted to find a way to not only teach, but to help young people walk that legacy and understand who Dr. King was. So I had shared with you at the time, I was raised Lutheran. So the Cross Lutheran Church brought in a pastor from Birmingham, Alabama, Joe Ellwanger.
That's absolutely.
So that's who I actually had my first ministry experience with. And was the secretary of the church and then did many other things. He was one of those that took on this concept and ideal of how do we give to the community, but also teach young people
the legacy. He embodied the beloved community because he walked with Dr. King, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And he had walked with Dr. King. So he was the one that helped me understand and helped me, again, know what a faith walk was. and faith work was. So we grew up wearing the dashikis. We went to anything and everything. We were the first children that integrated a traditional German white church in Milwaukee. So we split a church. We had our experience of splitting the church too, because they let us sing gospel and they let us dance. So he was one. The second person was Reverend Ernest Glenn, that came out of the Christ Presbyterian Church. And again, these are not traditional Black churches. These are untraditional Lutheran churches and an untraditional Presbyterian church, where Reverend Ernest Glenn, let's see, we were on 16th and Vine, and they were on 19th, 20th and Walnut. So being right next door almost to each other, our congregations was always doing things together. Reverend Ernest Glenn then joined in with Reverend Joe Ellwanger, and there was a United Methodist pastor, Reverend James Lyles. And those three, and Reverend James Lyles was the pastor that said, we got to do something.
Was he at St. James? What church was he?
I am not positive which United Methodist church it was.
St. James was
but
United
St.
Methodist.
James was United Methodist. And he then started having that conversation with the other two, saying, what can we do? And together, the three of them said in 1976, let's give some scholarships. We can't give a lot because we don't have a lot right now. So they started something within those congregations. So it was based on having young people understand who King was. It was an assignment because they didn't just give them a scholarship. What they required of those students was to learn something and be able to express their own concept of who King was. They were given a quote by King. They were given some criteria in terms of what you need to do community service. So they were given things to do. And based on that, that allowed them to get a small scholarship. The very first scholarship was $250. But again, it gave, and it wasn't to what we would call our scholarships, where you got to have the 4-point, you got to be, the top of the class and all of this. No, it was to inner city students that wanted to go to college, but didn't have everything going for them. Once they started that scholarship, as a matter of fact, the brother that we're bringing here 50 years later, Reverend Dr. Danny Murphy, was the first. He and Connie Lindsay, who also was from Roosevelt Junior High School, went over to Chicago and became an executive vice president in the banking business. They were the first two that received. And he will come back 50 years later to be our speaker for this January 11th, which is this coming Sunday, to say 50 years later how that $250 scholarship helped to change his life.
We don't, it's the little things that people do in terms of pouring into us.
Yes.
And when you have people who you're able to do that, scholarships and things like that, but certainly, and one of the things that people, obviously Dr. King was one of the great orators, ever. Certainly he was a prophet.
Yes.
and a leader, but a lot of people don't realize he was also an academic. He was a scholar.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Graduated from high school 15
and a half.
Right.
Yes.
Graduated from Morehouse when he was 19. They said he couldn't pledge Alpha because they would have killed him as a kid.
Yes.
So he didn't do that when he got to Boston University.
Yes.
Crozier. And so the academic part of it becomes real important too. That we need to learn something.
Yes. And that from that 1976 helped those inner city churches decide, here's a way that we can not only help our young people to know who he was, but how do they begin to walk a part of that walk in justice. So I would say probably from those 3 congregations, they grew to 12, 15, 18 churches. And now it's not just denominational churches, but my church, for example, as an independent ministry, is a part of bringing young people. And we've gone from $250 as a scholarship to now we're up to $2,500 per student. Now, again, we know that's not a lot of money in what people pay for college, but students that don't get anything or don't have support in any way know that they can get something, and it's not once. We follow a student all the way through college so that they will continue to get.
Do they, you don't have any requirements in terms of, for lack of better descriptive, paying it forward, that this investment in you means that we want you to invest in the community in some type of way?
Yes. So the community service is one part of the criteria, and that they're giving back to the community in some way. Most of the time is through their congregation or their school. And then the other thing is they do have to write an essay, and we actually have judges that go through the essays and give an additional scholarship for those that write the essays, and judges then say, here's a student that really went beyond, what it is. And then we also, in the midst of that, have their organization, for example, their church, or if it's a nonprofit organization, they would then also pay a fee to say, we want our young people to be a part of that. So the students themselves raise $200 or get $200, however they get it, to say we are serious about what we want to do. And then they're also given the assignment of doing an essay. And we do once a year what we call an all-a-thon, but it's to raise money. So we raise the money ourselves, whatever it is that comes. And we put students walking, riding bikes, whatever they do to raise money to be a part of that scholarship for the year.
Trying to do the math here. You have 12 winners this year?
We have 12 winners this year, and they come from all different schools, churches, backgrounds, very diverse group of young people. I am happy to say that because the churches are different, from Lutheran to Baptist to independent churches like myself, these young people come from all backgrounds. We have an African church through the Lutheran church that's a part of it. We have, and the African church is actually going to be the choir that's singing this year in French and in English. We have an Hispanic, larger church of Hispanics that are a part of it. So it's a good, diverse group of young people, and they get a chance and an opportunity to learn about each other as well as the work that they want to do in going forth with their careers.
So give us the particulars, time, place.
Yes. So the Milwaukee Scholarships of Milwaukee will be giving their 50th anniversary celebration at Emmanuel Presbyterian Church. This is the church, again, the presbytery is where Reverend Dr. Danny Murphy went into ministry. And now, 50 years later, he is what they call in the Presbyterian church, we would call him a bishop, but they will call him a presbyter. And then he is the state Trinity clerk of one of the Southern schools in South Carolina. So the brother has made history all his life.
And I didn't realize how, even though I know they do have overarching leadership, in some ways, just how diverse the Presbyterian Church is, where it goes from very progressive. I can remember when I was in school in Maryland, I became familiar with Ben Chavis.
Mm-hmm.
And he was part of the United Church of Christ. But they were Presbyterian churches, they were Methodist churches, but all those strains, they all still had where they were very progressive. They were also very conservative.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking Kennedy down in Florida, Presbyterian, what is his first name? He passed. But he was Presbyterian. So that was kind of fascinating to me. I love to look and study at the tradition, or look and study the traditions of different denominations and different religions.
Yes.
What formed them, and how, because that history then informs how they look at ministry and who they're going to do outreach to.
And the amazing piece for me with Reverend Dr. Danny Murphy is he's been able to go to South Carolina and oversee 56, I think up to 60 now, pastors in South Carolina, and to be over 119 ministries as a Black man in South Carolina. Amazing. And to get the work done over a period of time through the preaching, the teaching, the being an author, a writer, all of those things. And now again, 50 years later, be able to come back home and to say to us why we should rejoice. Yeah, we done had a lot of stuff that we've gone through, but we still have reason to rejoice. And so our theme is Rejoice, MLK Scholarships Milwaukee, 1976 to 2026, 50 years and still marching. We still got stuff that we're doing, and we're bringing people in to be a part of it. The service, we will have a reception. The reception starts at 2:30, so they will have some food. I always tell them that's not a good idea. Y'all should do that afterwards, but they got it before we sit down. So 2:30 on Sunday, they will have a reception. The address is 1100 North Astor Street. We welcome you. Young people, it's so good. We got parents that are just bringing their kids to come to see this and to witness this. 1100 North Astor Street, Emmanuel Presbyterian Church. Those of us that also love the beauty of how church buildings are.
That's a beautiful building.
Beautiful. To go there and to be a part of it. And we did ask on that Sunday morning, if somebody wants to hear Reverend Danny Murphy preach, he's going to be at Christ Presbyterian, the church that he grew up in. So that morning he's preaching there, but in the afternoon at 3:00, he will preach that 50th anniversary for the MLK Scholarships Milwaukee. And we would welcome you to bring students, to bring elders. I mean, it's a part of history, and it's a way that we celebrate. We do this every year in January. We have students, we have churches. We usually rotate the churches that support and do the work. And then we usually rotate the churches. When I said that we do a fundraiser once a year called an all-a-thon, but it really is more like a walk that we do in order to raise money and to continue to do this each year.
And if people can't be there, but they still want to support?
Yes. So the donations to the scholarship, I'm going to give you actually a P.O. box, because a lot of us don't necessarily do all of the Cash App stuff. But for a P.O. box, Milwaukee is MLK Scholarships Milwaukee. The P.O. box is 100103, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53210. Based on the work that we're doing, we do have the checks made out to Hepatha Lutheran Church. But I'm going to give my number, because if people want to have more details, if they call me, text me, I can easily get them exactly what they need and the process that they want to use. My number is 414-507-1115. And please text. Then that way I'll know what the call is about and how you would like to help us.
Pastor Teresa Thomas Boyd, thank you. Thank you for being part of the conversation today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Can I just leave this quote by Dr. King?
You may.
Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of education.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate
I
you.
was sitting up here thinking, like, what was happening in 1976? Wow. Let's see, that would have been my freshman year. Yeah. No, going in my sophomore year, college. Yeah. It was crazy times.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
And great history was being made.
Great history was being made, whether we wanted to or not. It was. We appreciate that. Appreciate you. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
You know,
it's been my pleasure.
People see you and they might not know, but I think your story is important. Obviously, I love biography, so, but no, I appreciate that. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. It's been great here, and I'm praying that people will see themselves as doing great for 2026. Look up, people.
I ain't gonna say nothing because I just preached a message on that. Thank you. Let's get about let me say this. Tomorrow, I mentioned this, so we'll talk about it. Tomorrow's Free Flow Friday. DJ the Protege will be in and talk about the AME Church. Brother DMX is being posthumously ordained as an AME minister.
So can he still bring the word?
I don't know. You probably want to back up. No, who said this morning that they were, most of the funerals they played for, the people were dead?
That was me being the professional mourner that I am. Being the professional mourner that I am. Normally the funerals I play at, the people are dead.
Now here's the thing about this funeral. He wasn't dead.
He wasn't dead. He was alive and well, Jack.
One of the weirdest funerals I've ever been to in my whole life. It was, yeah, I mean, it's one of those obvious things where, and don't get me into black preaching, because in black preaching, he was deaf and could not hear, blind and could not see, dumb and could not talk. Oh, man. And my pastor dropped this one Sunday. I love black preaching. I love black preaching. Yes. He said, this is how tough God is.
Yes.
He can take a brown cow who
Yes.
eats green grass
Yes.
and give you white milk. Oh,
That
black
boy good.
preachers.
That boy good.
That boy good.
Boy, he good.
If you ever do anything around the spirit, the one thing that I would love to share and to experience, because a lot of people don't know how LA was the city in the United States that had that years of
Azusa.
miracle, Azusa Street.
Azusa.
So most recently, 3 years ago, I went to Azusa Street
Okay.
and met a group of Asians that have purchased things in that area, but has brought back alive the Azusa Street prayer and warrior time. And so just in terms of what you're saying and what's happening
John Seymour.
in the atmosphere.
John
Yes,
Seymour. It
yes.
started a whole
William,
movement.
yes,
William Seymour,
Seymour
I'm sorry.
was
Started a whole movement. Church of God in Christ,
and
Assemblies of God,
and all of those things.
Church
So
of God.
yes. It's more to it than we give it and that people talk about. But I know that's on purpose as well. Yeah.
And the racism was there because my understanding
Yes.
was that it was Bishop Mason who had ordained the first 12 elders of the Assemblies of God, but
Yes.
these white men could not see themselves
Yes.
reporting to
Yes.
a black man.
Yes.
Hey, y'all. Good Lord willing. Clark, thank you. Debo, thank you.
Thank
Jermaine,
you.
thank
Indeed,
you.
indeed.
Pastor Boy, thank you. The good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.